Hey, what's happening, millionaires? My name is Haziq Ali. I'm one of your captains on this journey. I want to congratulate you for being here. This means that you're part of a really special tribe. There's not a lot of people that will take time out. We don't do a lot of harass. The whole thing is that you are here your own free will, or somebody told you about it. This makes you one of the chosen few, because there are not a lot of people that understand that what they put in is what they're going to give out. And that if you put garbage in yourself, then you have no choice but to give garbage results. We're going to discuss a little bit of that today. Today is call number 36. But before we get into it, make sure you're texting your friends and letting them know that you're here. Again, that number is 641-715-3200. Again, that's 641-715-3200. My name is Haziq Ali. My Instagram is at Haziq Ali, Haziqali. If you don't have a toolkit yet, you can email me at haziqali@gmail.com. Today, we're going to discuss the 6 raw materials that underlie success since the beginning of time, right? I'm going to give you examples. You know what I mean? We're going to go through it a little bit, but there are only 6 of them. And then there are 3 tools that you can use to carve these materials, right? And then we're going to discuss the 6 tricks that superachievers use to multiply their results and dominate the marketplace. It doesn't matter where you are. These are the ones. And we're getting them straight from Tiger Woods, from Michael Jordan, from Jeff Bezos, from Steve Jobs, from Bill Gates. It's sort of like Warren Buffett says, everybody's your mentor, right? You can learn something from everybody. Well, how are the greatest to ever do it doing it? That's what Obsessed with Success is about. We're about to get started in just a couple of seconds. But before we do, who started crushing some of those limiting self-beliefs we talked about last call? You know, you guys know we're not just here for fun, right? The whole point is to be using this stuff. Like some of the self-limiting beliefs that we discussed with stuff like, oh, I'm not good enough to be there. You know, I'm scared of success. How many of us jumped out of there and made a conscious decision to let a dream killer kind of stay in their box? Maybe it's not. Maybe it isn't an efficient process to try to prove yourself to somebody that doesn't believe in you. Maybe you should just go ahead and focus less on proving and more on your purpose, huh? All right, well, as you know, we're going to have a contest at the end of this one like we do all the time. You guys know what it is. My Facebook page is Haziqali. So let's get into it. What are the 6 tricks that superachievers use to multiply their results and dominate the marketplace? Well, number 1 is that the size of your life will be decided by the size of the problems you solve. Let's look at it, right? Let's just say you have a real estate agent. This guy's got 1 house, right? But then you've got another guy who's looking at having 12 houses, 17 houses. I got a buddy who has 17 cribs up to this point, my partner in this whole venture. Shouts out to Mark Starr. What about the fact that there's a Donald Trump who has thousands of homes? It's the same exact business. It's just the size of the problem that, you know, this guy whose name we know decided he wanted to solve. Okay, you can have a coffee shop where you serve everybody in your area. Everybody knows to come here, they're going to get a good magazine. You know, the guy's back there pouring coffee, right? Or you could be Howard Schultz, who decides he wants to open up thousands of these. The size of your life is decided by the size of the problems that you solve, right? You could be a guy who builds a go-kart. You could build a go-kart and you pour maybe you found a way to make it run off corn syrup or something like that. You know, the people that do stuff like that end up getting murdered mysteriously. They always fall down some steps or fall down an empty elevator when they solve a problem like that, but I digress. You could also be like Elon Musk, who has changed the face of the whole automotive industry with this Tesla S-Class, which I don't know if you guys know, but it's outselling the Mercedes that's in that same thing, the Mercedes S-Class, as well as the big Lexus. It's outselling all of those. And he did it strictly because his mission was to make every other car company push their timetable up, because he realizes that we have a big problem to solve called these greenhouse gases, right? Okay, so that's number one. The size of your life will be decided by the size of your problems. I dream big dreams other people said wouldn't be possible. If you saw where I lived, you'd say there's no way this could happen. I came from the other side of the track. Guess who's saying that, y'all? That would be Howard Schultz. Howard Schultz got turned down by some crazy amount of banks. Google it for yourself. Whenever you're feeling down, just look up some of these people that you look up to. Look them up. Number two. Now, this is another quote that'll just give you trick number two, right? My best business decisions were picking the right people. Bill Gates said that. Now, he's made a lot of good business decisions. This is the guy. How does that apply to your business? How does that apply to your business? Sometimes the right person could be in your life and you're resisting it because you refuse to change. Did you know that a lot of times marriage is looked at as you're looking at your mirror? So all of a sudden, everything that annoys you about yourself is coming out? The way a sauna steams out your pores? How can you set up your business so that your strengths are being maximized? Forget weaknesses, maximize strengths. Teams perform much better than individuals. That's Dr. Oz who said that. Dr. Oz, again, one of the best to ever do it, right? But if you got people like Bill Gates saying that the best decision they ever made was in the people they picked, or people like Dr. Oz telling you that the key to propelling teams forward is making sure that you have strengths that maximize, and then people around you that cover your weaknesses the way you can cover theirs, what can we do to put that into effect right now? All right, this third one comes from Donald Trump. The quote that kind of sums up Donald Trump, because, let's look at it. This dude has won, lost, won again, lost, won again. He said that he got this from a golfer. I forget the golfer's name. But Trump's whole thing is that the harder you work, the luckier you get. So that's number three. The harder you work, the luckier you get. The successful talk to themselves. We talk about that all the time, right? Successful people don't listen to themselves so much as they talk to themselves. Who says this? Who's saying this? Be very rigorous in your self-analysis. Be tenacious and work like hell. Work 80 to 100 hours every week, and then you achieve in 4 months what it takes them a year to get done. Elon Musk said that. If you don't know who Elon Musk is, write it down, Google him. He's the guy that founded PayPal, sold it, studied astrophysics on the internet, and now he's starting his own rocket company. Elon Musk. 9% unemployment. People are trying to kill you. You have to eradicate the human behavior of relaxing. That's Howard Schultz again. You got to eradicate the human behavior of relaxing. Because the harder you work, the luckier you get. One of my favorite mentors, some of you guys are going to know this quote right off top, right? I've never really viewed myself as particularly talented. Where I excel is ridiculous, sickening work ethic. When he's asleep, I'm working. When he's taking a break, I'm working. If me and this guy are on a treadmill beside each other, you might beat me through that first mile, but where you got me twisted is that I'm going to die before I get off. You aren't getting off the treadmill after me. I'm going to stay on it longer. I'm going to outwork you. That would be Will Smith. There's this famous story about Lil Wayne and how he was here in Atlanta. And, you say it's a famous story, but I study this stuff or whatever. So, And he's out with Akon's brother and whatnot, and they get into it with the police. You know, they had tickets to the game and all of that. They get into it with the police, and then Boo, you know, Akon's brother, he's like a Def Jam exec now. He was like, man, so what you want to do now? He starts naming all the clubs. You know, we got more strip clubs. I don't know where you're calling in from right now, right? But Atlanta, Georgia has more exotic dancer clubs per square inch than any city besides Las Vegas, at least in North America, right? Like, this is a special place when it comes to that, right? So he starts naming them off. Lil Wayne is like, man, I'm about to hit the studio. And Boo just starts laughing like, I wish you was my artist. Point I'm making is that you can be average quite by accident, but if you're going to be great, you got to be great on purpose. You got to be on great for a purpose. You got to be on great with purpose. You got to be great on purpose. All right, so let's move on. Number 4. You think focusing is about saying yes. No. Focus is about saying no. Steve Jobs. You want to look at this thing in the macro way, not the microwave. There are decisions that seem like the right thing to do in the moment. There are people that you want to help that seem like what you should do in the moment. But are you using your best talents in the way that can affect the most people? Because that's success. The total needs to be greater than the sum of its parts. You have to put your energy into places where 1 + 1 = 11. I cannot wait to tell y'all what me and my partner are planning. We're going to change the world, and I already know it. But it's going to take focus, and we've both committed to it. Confucius talks about how the man who chooses to chase 2 rabbits catches neither one. Let's talk about Richard Branson, right? One of my favorite mentors. Again, if you don't know him, you want to look him up. My cousin's reading this book of his called Losing My Virginity. I can't wait to read it myself. You know, this is a guy you know from Virgin Records, Virgin Airlines, Virgin Mobile, right? I mean, the dude is insane. He's got rocket ships. He's planning the first commercial tourism in space. He's no joke. Sir Richard Branson, as he was knighted by the Queen of England. This dude said the only reason that he has 300 companies with 300 different directors is because early on he learned to delegate. Somewhere along the line, somebody taught us that multitasking was some kind of skill. Multitasking ain't no skill. You have to learn to delegate. That's a skill. You have to learn to trust people with responsibility. That's a skill. You have to be able to read people and understand who's better where. That's a skill. But what you want is desperate, obsessive focus. Now, that's different from limiting your scope of vision. That's different from you limiting your depth of vision. But that's what somebody asked him. It was like, okay, so what happens if you need to run more than one company? It's all about you being a good coach, you being a good reader talent, and you mastering delegation. You can't do everything yourself. So it's back to what Steve Jobs said. You think focusing is about saying yes, no. Focus is about saying no. I cannot stress enough, guys, that if you were to take all of the data that was created from the beginning of time when they started recording it, let's say when cuneiform formed 5,000 years ago or whatever, right, up to 2003, you guys remember that guy Ray Kurzweil who we profiled a couple of weeks ago, that futurist? Okay, I think it's like call number 32 if you want to go back and listen to that one. But the whole key to this dude is he was talking about how we've created more data. Okay. If you take the data that was recorded from beginning of time to 2003, however much that is, right? These days, we're creating that, but how often? How often am I about to say, y'all? Every year we create at the beginning of the time to 2003? Every 2 years? Every 5 years? Every month? No, y'all. Every day. Every day, we create the same amount of data as we created from the beginning of time to 2003. Why is all that important? Because we're in a crisis. What is the number one skill going into the 21st century? Why do I always talk about how I threw my TV away? Would you let somebody in your house to just rob your safe? Take all your money, burn it in front of you? Well, that's what you're doing. That's what your team is doing. That's what your employees are doing. That's what your family is doing. Everybody's getting robbed by distraction. The devil is alive. The devil is working, and his name is distraction. So you've got to learn to focus. Desperate, obsessive focus. Entrepreneurs are taught that they don't have a boss, and it's false. An entrepreneur's boss is his calendar. Eric Worre said that. Let's move on, though. Number 5. The number 5 trick that super achievers use to dominate the marketplace is they understand failure is good for you. Most multimillionaires and billionaires have gone bankrupt 2 or 3 times. The government is saying, learn, come back, and start again. That's why they give you a limited business you can form. They need you to learn, come back, and start again. This is an economy, as in eco, as in we're all connected. The government is set up for you to win. That's why you have a home-based business. They're thanking you for doing something for the economy. I don't know how many of y'all remember when the planes hit the towers, but the whole game plan behind that was Bush sent out this stimulus check, and his whole game plan was what? Go buy a barbecue grill or Al-Qaeda wins. Go buy a flat screen or Al-Qaeda wins. That's because most of these people don't do nothing for the economy except buy stuff. Why is that important? That's important because you need to be trying more ideas. If Richard Branson just now said most multi-billionaires and billionaires have gone bankrupt 2 or 3 times, and you haven't gone bankrupt yet, you got some failing to do. You only get remembered for what you succeed at, not what you attempt. That's got to be the best news you heard all day. Don't nobody remember all these times Richard Branson failed? One time I sat here and I named about 25 things Apple failed at, and you don't remember none of them. You don't remember none of them. That should give you a lot of power. If you were at the target range, you were aiming at the piece of paper in front of you. When you miss the bullseye, it just lets you know how to re-aim. Failure is good. Number 6. This is from Joel Osteen. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. You would think the quote would be finished right there, but nah. The next level is what he says next. So the question becomes, how can I reach higher? You guys hear me say it all the time. What they teach you all the time is that people got to face their fears. I disagree. What I teach is that people got to face their comfort zone. How can you push yourself higher? How can you, what Joel Osteen calls it, is push yourself to the point of pause. Who said this, y'all? I never feel that I'm at my best. I still feel I have room to improve. Every game, all I look at is how I messed up. All I look at is the ways that I could have done this better. He starts talking about how he's missed the game-winning shot, or he's missed 9,000 times. He's missed the game-winning shot. He had the shot and missed it 27 times. Of course, I'm talking about Michael Jordan. Or there's this guy. I'm greedy in a sense, he said. There's always someone better than me. In junior golf, there was always someone better than me. The next level up, there was always someone. When I turned pro, there was always somebody better than me. Right now, today, there are people that are better than me at facets of their game. So I consider myself greedy in a sense because what I look to do is absorb. That's Tiger Woods talking. This is when he was already at the top of his game, according to the record book. Tony Robbins talks about how he read 700 books in 7 years. He wanted to read a book a day. And he says he never really got to a book a day. But guys, Warren Buffett said it the best, right? The best investment you can make is in yourself. Now, this is Warren Buffett talking, right? If Warren Buffett is going to tell you the best investment you can make is in yourself, and this is the Oracle of Omaha, this is like an investing, like, this is Mr. I invest in the people, not the business, right? Only diploma on his wall is his certificate from a Dale Carnegie course on self-improvement. That tells you everything you need to know about success right there. So I hope that helped a little bit. I hope that you guys got all 6 of those. We'll hurry up and move on so we can get out of here on time. The 6 raw materials that underlie all change. The 6 raw materials that underlie all change, right? All throughout history, it's only rested on these 6 principles. These are principles that you can work on immediately. They apply across the board. And goodness gracious, if we'd have known this 10 years ago, ain't no telling where we would be. What makes me the most upset and why we're about to do some world-changing things is because we believe, my partner and I, that this is something that we could have understood in elementary school, much less middle school or high school. Somebody's yanking our chain, y'all. But here they go. Number 1, the first raw material, because I'm going to give you the 6 raw materials, and then I'm going to give you the 3 tools that you carve them with. Imagine that this is the putty. This is what you're about to create your Michelangelo with. This is what you're about to create your mansion in heaven with, right? These are the raw materials. We're talking about the bricks and the mortar of your dreams. So it starts with beliefs. It starts with beliefs. This is the stuff you get from your parents. This is stuff you get from your environment. Scientists say you get 52% of your intelligence while you're still in utero. With that meaning that the mother is literally clicking on your cells based on what she perceives in the environment. I'm telling you, the people around you are serious with the effect they have on you. If you look at your mom and your dad, and they aren't where you want to be at that age, you better check the beliefs they gave you. They've taught you everything about everything. With their words, with their actions, or with their lack of. Right now, you have issues with connecting with people, or you love connecting with people just based on how you dealt with your parents. These are your beliefs, right? But then what do beliefs give you? What I just now described, your attitudes. Real funny thing about this language of ours. Have you ever noticed these little things like, oh, you spell words, but then also wizards cast a spell. So it's almost like you can cast a spell on your life with the words you spell, right? Or matter. Why do we say matter is when something is solid, but then we also say you got to make it matter? It's almost like we're saying that once I make something matter, I'm making it real. Real interesting, right? Well, another one is attitude. You know, I love positive and negative. Positive, oh, he thinks positive. So you mean to tell me he or she thinks in a way that adds under their life? Because the positive sign is a plus sign. Oh, stop being negative, they tell you, right? Oh, stop thinking in a way that's making me want to spend less time with you, less money with you, less energy in your direction. You're negative. It's cold. Well, attitude's another one. The second raw material is attitude. Do you know in architecture, attitude is the angle that it's aiming towards? Is it aiming up or down? That's the attitude. Well, again, real interesting what English, this interesting language gives us. But there are clues in the language. Your attitude are the lenses with which you look at the world. The third one is your thoughts. Your attitude gives you your thoughts. That's why it's so important that we learn to talk to ourselves instead of listen to ourselves. One of my buddies is an incredible songwriter. Like, him and his partner, they wrote Man Down for Rihanna in like 15 minutes or something. Well, he has a routine he goes through before he walks in the studio where he starts shadowboxing, like, you the baddest MF on the planet, you know? He goes through it where he self-talks himself and gets himself in that zone. Before you go out to make sales or prospect or get about the business of being who you said you was last night before you went to sleep, right? You got to self-talk yourself into it. Psych yourself out. You see boxers do it all the time. You see Babe Ruth pointing at the stands before he knocks the ball out there. You see Muhammad Ali calling the round he's going to knock him out in. This is the thoughts, y'all. This is self-talk. Winners talk to themselves. Losers listen to themselves. Because what do those thoughts create? Your feelings. Your feelings. Your feelings are just the response to the content of your thoughts. It's just the response to the content of your thoughts, your feelings. There's this famous story, right, about two salesmen. Like, they were off in the third world, maybe Cuba, and one of them calls home and he's like, "Oh man, the natives here don't even wear no shoes. Ain't no market here." The other one calls his company like, "Oh man, the natives don't even wear no shoes here. Send everything." They had a different feeling based on a different belief, which gave them a different attitude, which gave them different thoughts. So then they do what? They make different decisions. They make different decisions, y'all. Tell me something. Does it take a long time to decide something? Decision, comes from like scission, incision. The Latin of that is to cut off. So when you decide, you're cutting off options. You're focused again, right? You know what this is. If you've ever seen somebody quit smoking cigarettes or quit drinking, it happened in an instant. It happened in an instant. Now, the pathology has to kick in over time. That emotion has to kick in, and then it's like, okay, now I'm forming this new habit. But the decision was instantaneous. And then after that, you get your results. Self-explanatory. You get that pudding. like how me and my dog always say, the proof is in the pudding. Okay, then, so what are the 3 tools that you use to carve this thing? What are the 3 tools that you use to carve this material? Pretty easy, y'all. The first one is desire. Everybody you know that's great, they want it a lot more than the other. So you're using your belief to shape your desire. Because a person only works as hard as they believe. A person only works as hard as they believe. That's why your why is so important. If you don't have a really strong why that you're doing what it is you're doing, whatever project you're really excited about, whatever project you're letting have most of your day, which I hope for you, my wish for you is that you spend most of the hours on your day on something you're excited about. Guys, if you don't have a why, you'll never be great. That why got to be strong enough to make you cry, strong enough to make you really pissed off. It's got to evoke some passion. Emotion leads to motion. Always. All right, what's the second one there? Expectation. Again, it goes back to belief. You guys know I always talk about the placebo effect. They did a study back at the University of Chicago, I think it was. And, no, it wasn't. It was the University of Wisconsin. And they did a study on these cancer patients, ladies that had breast cancer. It's like 350 of them total. They took half of them, they gave them the real breast cancer therapy. They took the other half and gave them a placebo. Do you know that 30% of them lost their hair, even though they were getting a placebo cancer treatment? Only because they expected to lose their hair. Why is that important? It's important because if you expect this month to be slow for you, it's going to be a slow month every single time. You are literally going to pull in exactly the actions and the habits that create this being a slow month, and it's going to happen every single time. I'm promising you. The third one is imagination. Dominant desire, intense expectation. And then I'm talking about you've got that. They lied to us when they told us to stop daydreaming. They tricked us. We were hoodwinked. We were bamboozled. There's no doubt that the dreams you have when you're asleep matter. There's a dream lab at the University of Chicago. That's where I put the University of Chicago in. But Google their dream laboratory. They've established in no uncertain terms that dreams are an exotic language of their own that is telling us the future, telling us parts of the future. You heard me right. You have the power to see certain future realities for yourself. It's not just that old lady in your family. It's not just some lady you meet in the carnival who's probably playing some kind of trick on you based on a little bit of truth, but some fiction mixed in there. So listen, that's different from control dreams. Daydreams are the ones that help. There are so many tools for visualization that we weren't taught. You know, they make Navy SEALs. Like you heard of SEAL Team 8? People that are on that level of high performance, they make them go through the color bars in their head, right? The color bars, like visualizing the color yellow, visualizing the color orange, because they know after that your visualizations are more vivid. Dominant desire, intense expectation, and vivid visualization. You need your imagination to be on 20 when you're picturing this end result that you want 3 years from now, 5 years from now. You've got to see it. How does it smell? How does it feel round in the corner? How does it feel speeding up and slowing down? The reason you saw that car everywhere after you rented it is because you know all the above. But you don't know that for your dream. And that's why you don't got your dream popping up everywhere. I really hope that helped. Those are the 6 raw materials and exactly how we carve them out. I want to get now into the whole idea of the Q&A. I know that we've got a toolkit that's been floating around. Certain people have been hitting me about different things. Does anybody have any questions this week? If you do, then push *6. You can say where you're from, and you can let it have it. If you're in the company with me, then you know we've got a huge event going on this Saturday on the 18th. If you're in any other kind of business, then I dig it. Let's make this the best week ever. This is Haziq Ali. I appreciate everybody for being here. If you don't have any questions, if you do have a question, you push *6, and that's how you unmute yourself.
Hey, Haziq, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, man, in the Jordan Belfort kit, what were the 10 CDs, the modules? Do you know what each one of those is for me?
If you email me, then I'll get them to you and whatnot. But basically, all of the modules are concentrated on a different form of his workshop. So the first one was just like an introduction, you know, with the 3 tenets of straight line persuasion. The second one was the art of prospecting, which is like 5 keys to sales mastery. The third one is how to capture attention in 4 seconds. The fourth one is being a visionary and how that's the true secret to success, that it's not so much about goals, it's about vision. Number 5 is the inner game of sales, those forces that you harness to create lasting results. Disc 6, you guys can email me, haziqali@gmail.com, if you don't have straight line persuasion. But the SLP system is this master formula for controlling the sale. Number 7 is the art of qualifying, which is asking the right question. Number 8 is the presentation. It's the power of the 310. Number 9 is the power of language, cutting through to the close. Amateurs say whatever comes to their mind. A professional, every single word has a purpose. And then disc 10 is all about becoming a person of influence. Module 10 is about creating lifetime customers. So just a real quick run through of the Jordan Belfort system. It basically deals with the idea that every single sale is the same. So what you're talking about is that no matter whether you're talking about a $1 billion venture capitalist deal, someone joining your network marketing company, or you asking someone for a date, it's all the exact same. And the better that you're able to create a consciousness that understands the buy signals around you, the better your results will be. Because the way it all works is the more you know, the more confident you get, and then the better your results, which becomes the more you know, which becomes the more confident you get. So the whole point of this thing is it's sort of like the Eskimos. How if you go over there, they have 17 words for snow. Versus me and you just know slush. Me and you just know, sleet. They've got 17 words because they need to know, is this the kind of snow that I can put a sled on? Is this the kind of snow I can build an igloo with? Is this the kind of snow I can't eat if I haven't found food for 3 days and I'm lost in the tundra? They need to know that. So their consciousness sees the same thing we see, but they have a different name for that kind of snow. Well, that's how it is with sales. So what he does is break it down so that no matter who you are, you can understand that what everybody cares about is 1, the product and the benefit. 2, your leadership and your likability. 3, the company itself, the industry itself. And if you can lock down those 3 principles, then you build 3 walls that are so tall they have no choice but to exit through the only one you left open. But those are the 3 walls that you're building up. From there, it becomes a straight line. So he calls it straight line persuasion because the whole game, whenever you're on the phone with the person, is to do 2 things. 1, which is gather intelligence, and 2, which is build rapport. The whole point of gathering intelligence is that you need to know 3 things about the person. 1, do they like the products and the benefits? 2, do they like me and my leadership? And 3, do they like the company and the industry? That's all I'm gathering intelligence about. So when I'm listening, next week we're going to get into listening skills and the 8 different forms of listening, because there's a reason they call a person a poor listener, right? They don't say you're a bad listener or a horrible listener. They say you're a poor listener. That's because the poorer you are at listening, the poorer you are, all right? But when you're on the phone with a customer or when you're there in a customer's face, you're gathering intelligence based on those 3 categories, and then the second one is building rapport. Building rapport is not us talking about your basketball game this weekend. Building rapport is me making sure you understand that I'm someone that can help you take control or hit your goals. That's what building rapport is about. So the 3 things you need to be, Jordan Belfort teaches. This is all according to Jordan Belfort, by the way. The 3 things Jordan Belfort teaches that you need to have quickly in your approach is 1, enthusiasm. I'm talking about enthusiastic as hell is the way he always puts it. 2, sharp as a tack. How quick can you pick up what your customer needs? And then 3, it needs to be the type of thing where you're a force of nature. You're a figure of authority that they'd be a fool not to follow. When you combine those 3 things, you have rapport with your customer. Okay, then. So that was the Jordan Belfort method, and that's about our time for this week. I hope that helped too, man, whoever that was. And we'll see you here next Wednesday, 5:15, y'all. Appreciate everybody for being here.